Oh my God. Hey, everybody. We're just giggling over here. Welcome
We
back
are.
to another installment of 90s Crime Talk with Stef, which is a tree branch of our Totally 90s podcast.
Hmm.
I am Steph, you're one of your hosts, and I'm here joined by my vivacious and stunning bestie,
Hmm.
Neen. The
Thank
same
you.
Neen, the same Neen of Fridays with Neen, another tree branch of our Totally 90s podcast. Hey, Neen.
Hey, Steph, how are you? Oh, yeah, I'm so excited to be here. I've been actually I feel like we missed an episode
I know
of
because we
this.
were so like, oh, okay. Because we haven't seen our faces since we went wine tasting, and we were just
Yes,
so on top of our game. We recorded our recently dropped episode last week. I mean, hi, who are we? So we kind of had like a little
exactly.
break.
We
Look
did,
at
and I
us.
just feel like I don't know, it's like going through withdrawals. I even Tony said, "Oh my gosh, did I miss an episode?" And I go, "No." I was like, "Tomorrow's Friday." I said, "But we dropped one yesterday." He goes, "I know, I heard that, but I don't know. I feel like I'm missing something." I go, "I know. It just seems like forever since we've spoken or we've
Oh,
recorded, you know?"
it has. But here we
Yeah.
are together again, and I feel whole and
We are. Gosh, it's just so like warm and fuzzy
it
talking to
is.
you, and we had a
Oh,
great weekend. At least I got to see you on Saturday, Sunday.
I wanted to never let you go.
I know. I know it was perfection. And I know we told everybody where we were going, but we went wine tasting and oh my gosh, it was delicious.
Oh my God, tater tots,
Ah,
truffle tots. Anything in truffle oil is already going to be delicious.
why? Okay, I'm not lying. I'm still kind of like confused as to why I thought it was chocolate tater tots.
Well, because you think truffle, you think chocolate truffles. That's totally
I
like,
guess so, but I really thought it said chocolate. I
mm,
don't know why I was imagining these tater tots being covered in chocolate.
maybe because people put chocolate on anything these days. Hi,
I
chocolate covered
guess.
bacon. Like, I would
Uh,
never, but
no.
people like really go for the stuff. And actually, chocolate tater tots might be a thing. I wouldn't
Yeah,
want to try it. I'm more of a
me neither.
savory gal, but
Yeah, but yet I was down to order it.
yeah, you were ready. You ordered them.
I know because I was like, because Kara's like, oh, that's what we had last time. So I was like, oh, I must have had them and they must have been so good. And that's why I picked them up and I was like, where's the chocolate? Is it the
Oh,
sprinkles in
oh my God, you are so small. And
them?
actually, thank you for bringing up our winery trip because you just made me remember that we bought a bottle of rosé and that sucker is
Yes.
going to get chilled tonight for tomorrow.
Okay, damn straight. Oh my gosh, that's right. I bought a bottle of rosé myself.
You better toss that puppy in the fridge if it's not already there.
Yeah, I am gonna have to because crap, it's supposed to be hot tomorrow,
Oh,
even though I
yay.
work, but it's supposed to be
Oh,
warm. And then I'm
okay.
Presley's coming to work with me. So we're gonna be home early though. It's only half day. So
Wait,
it's
can I ask, did you guys have your mother-daughter date today?
well, we tried, but we
Oh,
we were we ended up bringing my mom because Presley's like, "Oh, I feel so sorry for grandma because she's by herself." And I said, "Well, if you want her to come, she can." I was like, "Just ask her." And so she goes, "Okay." So she asked her, and my mom goes, "Well, I didn't want to intrude, but if you would like for me to come, I'll be more than happy." And so she goes, "Okay." So then she comes over and she's like,
oh,
"Yeah."
thumbs up. Oh,
So
Prince is such a doll.
yeah, she is. But we had a good day regardless. What did we do today? We actually, the whole thing of today was we were gonna go have Starbies because that's she's fun.
Oh,
Have Starbies, get her Gouda bacon and egg sandwich. I don't know, and
yes.
uh-huh, right, and a strawberry acai lemonade for her.
Okay,
That's her drink.
Prince.
I know that's her drink. And then we were gonna go buy stuff for her birthday party that we're having.
Oh my God. Okay, does she have a theme for her
Oh my
birthday?
gosh, are you ready?
Is it the Little Mermaid? I'm gonna throw up. How cute. And not throw up because it's corny, throw up because I would want a Little Mermaid party. What is it?
No, it is a groovy 70s birthday party.
Just like you're 15.
Yes, and it literally is the vibes that are so close to my heart. She wants nothing but daisies, peace
Oh,
signs, smiley faces, and just like disco balls all
oh,
over. I'm like, yes, yes. And okay, so I think I told you this. I wasn't going to give her a birthday party until she was like 18, but
mhm.
then she wanted a sleepover and I just didn't really feel comfortable having a sleepover yet just for her as far as like her friends because I kind of feel like they're still young and some parents just aren't comfortable with that yet and it's cool the ones that are, right? But
Yeah.
a lot of people like were anticipating her birthday. So I was like, Presley, I was like, how do you feel? I kind of feel like we should. And you know the thing is that I don't think I ever said this to anybody. I mean, you know this, but my dad died the day after Presley's actual birthday. So Presley's birthday is on the 26th and he passed away on the 27th.
Oh,
So like today I took her to gymnastics and she was telling me that she saw an ice cream truck. So every time she sees an ice cream truck, it reminds her of my dad
why?
because
Because they were.
whenever he would hear the ice cream truck go through the neighborhood, he would get all his money together and he'd say, "Come on, let's go get ice cream." So every time she hears an ice cream truck, the music, she starts to cry. So
Oh my
I'm like,
God.
so she was telling me, she's like, I really miss grandpa. And then um, she goes,
Oh,
you know, I'm so excited for my birthday. She was like, but I can't help but think that the day after is when he died. And so I was like, you know what? I don't care. So I'm over there on Amazon buying all this stuff, like going all out. And I'm like, you know, I know some people may think, oh my God, she goes way out, like for her parties and stuff. But, you know, I'm sorry. I'm like, you know what? I kind of feel like I have to, not have to, but I want to. I want to like kind of mask that whole like sadness. And if I can make it
yeah.
as happy as possible for her, I will. And like I told you, she's requested to only have her friends from school attend the party. Like this is strictly for her friends. And it's nothing against like
Oh,
family or our close friends, nothing. Cause I was worried that, people might get their feelings hurt, but I totally understand because we've all been to those parties when we're little and we're really close to people. And then all of a sudden we go to their birthday and they ignore us because their school friends are there. And that happened to Presley. So she's like, you know what? I don't want to do that.
she's
So,
allowed to have who she wants. And also, Neen, who's judging you for throwing a party for your daughter? Like, she's never going to forget it. My parties growing up were lit. Okay. And
see,
I
I
will
love it.
never, like, for like every single year, my parents went all out, like,
Aw.
all out. And I can't even pick a favorite. I always go to my eighth birthday because that was a really good one, but like, they
Mm-hmm.
all were.
Mm-hmm.
So, she's gonna think back and remember, damn, I had an amazing party, when I turned 10. Like, and that's
Mm-hmm.
all that should matter. Like, screw
Yeah.
whoever's looking at you sideways. I'm looking at them.
Yeah, I
Like, are
just,
you paying for it? I didn't
I know. I
realize.
I guess I always just like feel like I'm always the mom that kind of goes like way out there and like
Good,
overboard, but
good.
I'm like it's only once a year and honestly, I didn't have that as a kid. Like my mom really wasn't a party person. So,
Okay.
and she's so grateful. Like we were walking through Party City today and she goes, "I just want to tell you I thank you so much for being so, like doing this all this for me. I appreciate you." And I'm like,
Oh,
"Okay."
see, because those are the kids that deserve it. See, because I
Mhm.
was not like one of those punks, like, oh, I better get my parents
Right.
want because I earned the parties and Pretzel earns it. Like she
Yeah.
brings home good grades and she's in
Mhm.
gymnastics. It's not like she's like, I want it, and like being like a
Right.
little screeching howler monkey. So
Oh, no, completely. And today she had gymnastics and she went up to level 2 and they had
what?
her up there and they announced her name and they were like, she
No.
graduated to level 2 and she's like,
Oh,
yay, screaming. And I was like,
baby.
I
She's
know.
so
She's like, oh my God, now it's gonna get real.
give her the biggest freaking hug and tell her that I might have to copy her birthday party for my
Aw.
42nd.
Okay, because I best believe I'm saving this decor.
Oh
because it
yeah, you're
is
gonna rent it to
freaking gonna be
me.
lit. Okay. For
I'm gonna
real.
need to
I'm
borrow
like,
it.
anything with disco balls, I'm here for it. We are. You know how that
Exactly.
is.
Yes. Oh, I'm so excited for her, my little pride baby.
I know, right? For
And
real.
yeah, and then I forgot to tell you that me and Angel decided to do a mini moon. So we
Yes, please fill us in a little bit.
yes, so we're maybe I don't know when, maybe next year traveling to South America just because
Hmm.
Angel's never been,
Right.
but because that's, expensive. And so we're
And
like
that's
maybe we
been the
should.
goal for a while.
Oh yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. And then we were thinking, maybe we should put Maui on hold because it's, that's
Hmm.
expensive too.
Exactly.
And then I was thinking, if we do visit like South America, we're
Hmm.
gonna want to spend time, like I have family over there, so we're gonna want to
Hmm.
spend time with them. I don't know when, but like now that my grandmother's over there, like I
I was just
want
gonna
to
say.
go.
Hmm.
So anyways, but I was like, we still haven't been on a honeymoon at all. And then so I was like, what if we just go to freaking Mexico? Like
Hmm.
all
Yeah,
inclusive.
and that's like your place.
It's our spot. And we're actually
Hmm.
going to Cancun, not Puerto Vallarta this time, and an adults only resort.
Mm.
Maine.
Okay.
Maine. Like couples massages. It's like it goes right onto the beach, all these infinity pools that looks like it's part of the turquoise
Wow.
ocean. Like
Mm.
so we're so excited.
When
And
are you going?
the first week of August.
And how
Yeah.
exciting. Oh my gosh. How long are you guys going for?
Like like I think it's 5 nights, just like
Oh, that's
less than a
perfect.
week, but it's just what
Hmm.
we both needed. And we'll see where the wind blows us after.
Yeah.
Because we do want to go to Italy for our honeymoon, like our
Hmm.
honeymoon part deux.
Hmm.
So but yeah,
Yes.
I'm so excited. I was like, oh my God, to get it on the books is it makes it more real, like,
Oh,
oh,
for
I have a
sure.
break coming up.
Yes, you have a goal. You have
Yes,
something to look forward to. And you know what?
exactly.
There's nothing like going to somewhere like Mexico or
Oh, or
anywhere
Hawaii. Yeah.
hot.
With just all the only care in the world is laying on the beach or getting in the pool,
Hmm.
tanning, drinking, having
Yes.
delicious food. Bye. That sounds
Yeah.
perfect.
No, and you
Angel in a
guys deserve
bikini.
it. Hmm. You guys, I get with you. I love it. Okay, shoot. Um,
Girl,
someone better be wearing a bikini. That's all I gotta say. Man, that's probably pretty hot.
for figure. Oh my God. Anyways,
Right?
my Barbie doll is just gonna
You
be
seem to be
like
killing a
looking.
bunch of Mexicans over there. Shoot.
So we're excited. I'm gonna come back 25 shades darker. That's all I know.
But you should. I mean,
Yes.
that's, everybody needs a good ass tan when they come back. You want to show that off. Oh, where were you? Looks like you got a little sun kissed. Okay. Arriba. I
Exactly.
was in Mexico. Okay.
Oh, I can't
Oh,
wait.
I'm so
Oh my
excited for you. That's
God.
amazing.
Yes. But
Cancun. Have you been to Cancun?
I've been to like kind of it's like Cozumel is near there, so
Mm-hmm.
I've been there and it's so beautiful. The beaches are so beautiful
Mm-hmm.
and I just freaking love the food and the drinks.
Yeah.
And does Hawaii not do it all inclusive?
I don't think so.
Okay, because I was
I
looking because that's the way to go.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, I mean, and honestly, you may go to Hawaii and not even like it.
Hey.
Honestly, only because, and because I've heard this a lot from people, especially when they've been to Mexico quite a few times,
Mhm.
that for the amount of money that you spend in Mexico versus what you get in Hawaii, there's really no comparison, right? Plus, you have like the all inclusive, the beaches are different. Um, it's just a different vibe completely.
Mm.
And a lot of people that like Mexico sometimes don't like Hawaii. So
I
it's
just
just different. It's a different
it's a different vibe.
completely.
I
Yeah.
just my butt is not leaving this earth until I see Hawaii though. Like I want to go to Hawaii at least once. So Maui
Hmm.
is definitely still on our bucket list, but
You know where I want to go? Have you ever been to Florida? And I've never wanted to go to Florida,
you do?
but I'm telling you, I follow this girl and she's from Georgia, but she always goes to Florida on vacation. I'm not saying I want to go to Miami. Not that there's anything wrong with Miami, but I just don't really have, I don't know. I don't really know what I would want to see there, right? But there's a place called Destin, And if anything, a lot of the beaches in Florida are actually really pretty.
Hmm,
Like they're like
interesting.
white sands, blue waters, you
Okay.
know? So, I mean, I don't know. I'm like, I was actually contemplating like, okay. Like my friend Bree just came back from Pensacola. Phenomenal. They went there for Pride and it was
Whoa.
insane.
That
Like,
sounds awesome. I didn't
yeah, and
know.
she goes, and it's cheap. It's like everything's there. The people are nice. It's just like a good vibe. The beaches are gorgeous, like white sands, blue waters, like that greenish blue, you know?
Oh, that sounds gorgeous. I
And
bet Pretzel would like it.
yeah, exactly. I mean, I think with you guys, though, I think that you are so deserving. You guys have been working hard since the wedding, since before the wedding. And then you guys, you went to Canada, like you had, and that was it cold when you went? It wasn't that cold when you went, right?
This last time I actually was able to not wear a jacket
Oh,
finally.
that's good. But it's different, like just to
It's
be away
different.
from
It
everyone
all.
and
Yes.
everything, like here and work. And it's just a different vibe to where you could just disconnect and
Oh,
not have to. Because that's what Brandy said. Brandy was like, that's what I want to do. Just go to the
yes.
beach and disconnect and not talk to anybody except her and
Exactly.
her new husband, just like you and your new bride.
Oh my
Okay.
God. I just want to just put him on a cracker. I
Right?
love him. He is such a little muñeco. Are you kidding?
Mhm. Big time, isn't he? He's such like you just wanna squeeze him so much to
I,
where he pops and little teddy bears come out.
okay.
Like
That
Teddy
was
Grahams.
adorable. That was the cutest thing you've ever said to me.
Yes, Gerard, if you're listening to this,
Yes,
we
yes.
we all wanna
Oh,
squeeze you so hard that Teddy Grahams come out.
yes. And his freaking
Right?
little face. Oh my
I
God.
know. He's just a
Oh,
button. He really
what?
is.
And I'm telling you, I'm so glad you brought up Teddy Grahams and his adorableness because we need a palate cleanser before we get started tonight. As always.
Okay.
I love that you and I always like have a lighthearted banter before we discuss murder.
Yes,
I think it's important.
I
Not
agree.
we're not making light of what we're about to talk about at
No,
all. We're just
but
like
it's
letting
heavy.
loose, it's heavy.
Mhm.
Now you got me thinking about, Florida beaches and just beaches in general. So I feel ready
Mhm.
to chat with you. How are you?
Yes.
You ready?
Yes, I'm ready because I'm excited for this one. I
Okay.
hate to say
Oh,
that, like you said, but
no, I get it. Yeah,
mhm,
of
because it's
course.
something that we all kind of heard about and
Yes.
we all saw this person. So bring
Yes.
it, Steph.
Oh my
Woohoo.
God. All right. So today's episode, I wanted to talk about a case that took place 38 years ago in Michigan in March of
Wow.
95. And that is the murder of Scott Amedure,
Hmm.
or better known as the Jenny Jones murder.
Wow.
Um, yeah, so Scott's murder not only shocked the nation, but also raised important questions about, how powerful the media is and
Hmm.
the consequences of obsession. Before we dive in, I want to give our listeners a few trigger warnings as always, because we will be talking about violence, murder, and emotional distress. So listener discretion is, as always, advised. So first, let's talk a little bit about who Scott was. So Scott Bernard Amador was born on January 26, 1963, to parents Frank and Patricia
Hmm.
in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I couldn't find too much about his early life, except for the fact that he dropped out of high school in order to enlist in the army, where he served for about 3 years before being honorably discharged with a rank of specialist. Now I don't know
Hmm.
what he specialized in, but that's what was out there. So he was
Okay.
honorably discharged. At the time of his murder, he was 32 years old and living in Lake Orion, Michigan.
Hmm.
Um, as an adult, he worked in the telecommunications industry for several years, but then he made like a complete switcheroony career-wise
Hmm.
to bartending. He loved bartending. He was like, I found my niche. Like, I love it.
Hmm.
He loved people. He loved just being around like lively people. And he himself was known pretty well for being charismatic and just a lover of life.
Wow.
And another thing about him was he was an out and proud gay man. So
Hmm.
again, let's think back. This is early 90s. It wasn't
Mhm.
really like, how it is now. And even I
Yeah.
chuckle because like now I feel like we're going backwards in time, but whatever. So
Mhm.
he was out and proud, and he even came out to his family while he was in the army. So he was pretty young when he came out, like
Mhm.
18, 19. And they supported him completely. Like his brother, I saw some interviews with his brother after the fact. He's like, when he came out, we weren't really surprised. So we just like, okay, we love you.
Mhm.
Like dad was fine with it. Everyone was fine with it. It was just like him saying, hi, I like the color blue. So I
Right.
love that. That really stuck out to me. And
Mhm.
it's just so refreshing since we're talking, about the late 80s, early 90s when he came out.
Mhm.
So, one thing I want to mention that really warmed my heart about Scott was how involved he was in his community. He always, always, always would lend a hand to those who needed it. I read somewhere that he would even take in friends who were suffering from HIV complications because no one else was around to step up to do it. So I thought that
Wow.
was really nice.
Oh,
And
that's amazing.
yeah, very, very admirable.
Wow. That's, yeah. Because, that's really near and dear to my heart. And I know it is to yours. And like we
Yeah.
both have done the AIDS walk in the past. And anybody that can do that for people, like there's, especially during that time, because there was a lot of people that were dying alone.
Oh God, yes, because they didn't
And
know,
yeah.
back then they were like, what is this? Like, can you get it from being in the same room? And oh my
Just
gosh.
like
Yeah.
how, like, and we can all, I think if you talk about this now, how it was then, we can all kind of empathize with it because of COVID and the fact that we all were kind of in that same boat when it first started.
Definitely.
And so imagine like back then and it being,
Oh,
you know, placed on a specific type of, group. And it's just so horrible. And it's just sad because a lot of people died alone because of the, oh, sorry, my phone dropped. Um, because of all of the stuff that the media put out there.
very exactly media. Uh-huh.
Mhm.
It was like causing, what is that? It's just like panic and
Yeah,
hysteria.
hysteria.
And like you pointed out with COVID, that's such a good like it's the exact same thing. I mean, not, disease wise,
Right.
but remember when we first were like, okay, we were in lockdown. And then when we
Mhm.
would like step out to go shopping, and then we would like wipe things down with antibacterial wipes before like bringing it into the
Mhm.
house or touching it, and masks. Remember
Yes.
that? I
Ugh.
just
And it's like the world was
wow.
in slow motion.
It totally was. It
And
totally
we
was.
still kind of get that whole thing now with when someone sneezes or coughs in the store
We're both
still.
we're all, huh?
Uh-huh, because I'm
I
like,
do.
no, for real. And then I know when I do, people, I'm like, and then I get all hateful, like, what? But it kind of reminds me, and not to stray from,
Yeah.
your story real quick, but the whole monkeypox outbreak
Oh
and how
yeah.
the WHO had um kind of, and it hit a nerve with me. And I think I spoke about this to you, is when monkeypox first came out, the World Health Organization actually made it kind of like how it was back in the day with HIV and AIDS, and how they were saying that it was like a gay disease,
Uh-huh.
that only they were seeing this in the gay population. And I was like,
Wow.
why are you going to do that? Like, why would you even say that? Even if you knew it, you knew, okay, the stuff that happened back then with those words and things that you used and towards the gay community, what was happening with them. Why would you use that with monkeypox and try to make this the same kind of, it had the same kind of feeling behind it. And I didn't like that at all.
Is this the monkeypox? I feel like monkeypox broke out like a long time ago. No, am I
Hmm.
confusing it with Ebola? But like the monkeypox,
Yeah.
like just a few years ago, where they were like
Hmm.
pinning it on gay men, and because of
Yes.
like the way they
Hmm.
are intimate.
Yes, exactly.
Oh
And they
my
were seeing
God.
that, like,
Yes.
the victims of monkeypox, like they saw a pattern that it was only gay men.
Wow.
And I'm
I'm
like,
surprised they didn't put race with it too.
oh
Only
yeah.
gay Hispanics or some
Yeah, exactly. And I was just like, That's why no matter whether or not it's the government or it's like, you know, whoever it is, okay, we all have to be careful with our words.
Oh,
And I mean, I
yes.
think what you're going to talk about, you know, with this, it's a prime example of that. And just like the repercussions of things and how it trickles down and
Mm.
what it can cause.
Oh, yeah,
Mm,
definitely. Oh,
gives me a
I'm
stomach
really,
ache.
no, 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 no. I'm glad you brought that up. I think it's really important to like tie it in. Like it's all the same. It makes everyone just go, whoa, I'm scared.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna like be an asshole now to,
Yeah.
to these people. Yeah. Whew.
Right? Mm-hmm.
Um, so anyways, back to the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
So as I mentioned, Scott was a bartender and he was a people person. He had a ton of friends and acquaintances, and one of these friends was a lady named Donna Riley.
Oh.
And I'm not sure where they met or how, but they were tight. And
Mm-hmm.
through this friendship, Scott met a man by the name of Jonathan Schmitz. And Jonathan and Donna were actually neighbors. They lived in the same apartment complex. And the
Mm-hmm.
way that I heard the story was Jonathan was fixing Donna's car.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it was outside or in the garage, but like he was under the car. So all you
Mm-hmm.
could see was the bottom half of his body. And Scott like just so happened to drop by and all he sees is the bottom half of his body. And he's like,
Mm-hmm.
ooh, he was sassy. He was like, he liked what
Right.
he saw.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't say anything.
Mm-hmm.
He just like, oh, nice to meet you. And then that was it. But he was like, definitely like, wow, he's cute. I want to get to know him. Like, hi, remember you and I when we would have developed crushes
Oh
and we
yeah.
would always want to talk about them and
Yeah, go
ask
around
so
them.
and so, like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, do you think I have a shot and blah blah blah.
Right.
Like coffee bar boy.
Okay,
should
shoot.
I give this man a rose? My God, I'm still like
Oh my gosh. Jason.
yes. Oh, memories. But like we
Mhm.
did that. And so he did the same thing with Donna. He was like, Donna, what up? Like, he's
Wow.
cute. Do you know if, is he straight? Is he gay? Like, do you know? And Donna was like, I'm not sure actually. She had only ever seen him date women, but it wasn't very like successful. Like his
Mm-hmm.
relationships, he went through a few women and they ended. And because of that, his family would make comments to him
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, are you gay? Are you gay? Just because his relationships would fail. I mean, can't a person just be unlucky in love for a while without their sexuality being called into question?
Thank
That
you.
before like saying, oh, you're gay because you can't keep a woman. So that says a lot about the family that Jonathan grew up in. Clearly, they
Yeah.
had issues with homosexuality. So remember
Way
that.
way different than Scott.
Exactly. Way mirror opposite. So,
Wow.
but he was like, I'm just gonna go for it. Like Scott was like, he heard this, he was like, he might be gay then. Yay, I'm gonna see if I'm gonna say the corniest line ever. I'm gonna see if he plays for my team. And I'm not saying he said this, but that was big back in the 90s. So I wanted to be retro. So he's gonna go for it and he was gonna holler.
Mm-hmm.
Not too long after this meeting, Scott saw a commercial on TV for one of his fave shows, for a chance to appear on the show. And the show was Jenny Jones. Um,
Jenny. Hello, Jenny.
Jenny Jones. I will talk about her a little bit in a sec, but Jenny Jones had a show, a segment on her show that she did regularly, and it was about like secret crushes or something to that effect.
Mm-hmm.
And the commercial was like, do you have a secret crush? Do you want to come on our show and have that person come on our show and then you tell them, hey, I have a crush on, or like we'll say someone has a crush on you, come
Mm-hmm.
on our show and find out who. So Scott was like, how perfect is this? Okay.
Aw.
So he was like, I'm going to write the show and I'm going to tell them my story that I have a crush on this guy and maybe I'll get put on the show. Like it was so like, yay. And I don't think it was malicious on his part.
Oh.
So he did this. And as luck would have it, the producers and probably Jenny herself jumped at this opportunity and invited Scott to appear on the show. Clearly, the producers were well aware of Scott's intentions and saw it as a way to generate dramatic television. Little did anyone know, though, that this seemingly harmless segment would cause tragic circumstances. Like,
Mhm.
who would have thought? But jumping ahead. So Scott was, oh my God, he was like, yay, I'm so excited. I'm gonna be on my favorite show. They're gonna fly me out. I'm gonna go with Donna. Like, we're gonna make a full to do. And Donna
Uh-huh.
has like the totally 90s hair, Dean. Like, I don't know if you've seen the clip of this interview, but it's on YouTube if you want to take a look. She's
Hold up,
got like
wait. Is Donna the one that
the curls.
Yes.
Yes, that's Donna. Doesn't she look like a Donna? Like, what up? I'm
She looks
Donna.
like a Donna.
Her hair should be called Donna. Like, yeah, so they like flew out and they were set to appear on the show on March 6th, 1995. Now, at the same time, so Jonathan had also been invited to appear on the show and was genuinely excited. He was told, like, we want to have you on the show. There's someone that has a crush on you and someone that but like you have to come on our show to find out who it is. So hearing this, he was like, oh my God, I wonder if it's my ex-fiance. So like he had been engaged to his last girlfriend
Mhm.
not too long before like it ended. And so he thought, oh my God, maybe she wants to get back together. Like if she does, if it's her on the show, I'm going to propose to her again and we're just going to have a happily ever after. Like he totally thought it was her.
Oh
And then
no.
he thought if it's not her, it must be a woman he was flirting with at work. Okay, so that's where his mind is. He's like either
Wow.
or, it's going to be cool. So like he got a new outfit, he got his hair cut, he looked great. Okay, he was super pumped. One thing about his invitation from the Jenny Jones show that I should mention is, it said you're being invited to find out who your secret crush is. It also said that it could be a man or a woman. Okay, so
Okay.
they were like, it could be a man that has a crush on you. You never know, but like he didn't think that there was any way that it was like, I don't think he even thought, oh, it's going to be a guy
Right.
because he presented himself to be a straight man. Like there's just he was straight. So like
Right.
there's no way. And it's a known fact that I'm a straight man. Okay.
And he knows Scott. Like
Yes.
they've
Yes.
hung out and the three
Like
of them
through
and okay.
yeah, like through like Jonathan and Donna were friends and neighbors, and then
Mhm.
Scott and Donna were friends. But like as far as anyone knows, like he wasn't really like homies with Scott. They just saw each other. And I think maybe I think I read somewhere that Donna told Jonathan that Scott thought he was cute. And then he kind of
Mhm.
just like like laughed it off, didn't think anything of it. Cause like
Okay.
I'm not putting it out there, so I shouldn't be threatened, right?
Right.
Like that. So he was flown out separately from the show, like by the show. So
Mhm.
he had no idea that Donna and Scott were going to be there. So just so you know his frame of mind.
Mm.
Okay. Before we jump into the segment, let's do a little summary of Jenny Jones herself and the Jenny Jones show. Jenny Jones was born Janina Stronsky
Say
on
what? I didn't know that was her name.
yes, Need. She was born June 7th, 1946 in Bethlehem.
Oh,
Tight,
dang.
right? And I think her
Uh-huh.
mom was Polish. And she was
Hmm.
only in Bethlehem for about a year before her family relocated to Canada. So she's also Canadian American.
Of course.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And if that's not cool enough, she worked for many years doing all kinds of different things. So we know she had her own talk show, but prior to that, she was an actress, she was a comedian, she was a musician. I think she played the drums. Who knew? This woman is a jack of
Okay,
all
Jenny.
trades.
Get
Yeah.
it. Shoot.
Yeah. 1993 rolls around and Jenny Jones show hits the daytime scene. And it was like, okay, yay, like another talk show, great. And I definitely enjoyed her show back in the day. I know you
Mhm.
did.
Yeah.
But when she first started her show, she was branded kind of like to be like an Oprah-esque kind of talk
Mhm.
show, more serious, covering serious topics. But
Mhm.
after her first couple of seasons, the ratings were like in the toilet. They weren't doing good. Like I think the people were satisfied with having one Oprah. Like
Right.
they were like, I'm bored. What is this? I'm learning I'm doing all my learning via Oprah. So
Yeah.
give me something different.
Mm-hmm.
So she did a 180. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And so she changed from the serious talk show hosting to what is being referred to as ambush television.
Okay.
Yeah, and this, it's like it sounds. It's where guests would be put into really awkward or stressful situations, like, affairs, DNA
Right.
tests, sex changes, and so on. And then bam, chaos. Like the cameras would be rolling, the studio audience captivated, and the guests on the show humiliated.
Wow.
Um, and one of her more popular segments was the one called The Secret Crushes. That one was a hit among the audiences and TV watchers. So she found her secret sauce. And, she was following, I don't know if she was following or if she started the whole ambush thing. I want to say Jerry Springer was already doing it,
Mm-hmm.
but like Jerry did it. Maury, I feel like when he first
Mm-hmm.
started out, he was
Yeah.
more serious. And then all of a sudden, he did the ambush 180 too, because
Yeah.
it's like, you are not the father. Like, if you and
Mm-hmm.
I are on Jeopardy and someone's like, who said you are not the father? Boom, we would know who it is because
Yeah.
that's what he's known for. Geraldo had chairs thrown on a regular.
Mm-hmm.
So it was the thing. You and I were riveted, as was all of
Sure
America.
was. Mm-hmm.
So the studio execs were happy. Jenny Jones is happy. Everyone was happy except for the poor people that were truthfully
Victims
ambushed.
of all this.
Like
Mm-hmm.
I saw a clip on YouTube. It was like this woman and gorgeous, and then her boyfriend comes out genuinely happy to see her, and then I don't know which talk show host it was. It might have been Jenny. And then she's like, she has a secret to tell you. And then the woman goes, I'm a man. Like I'm actually a man. Or flip it. This woman comes on the show, another woman, and she's like so excited. She's, I'm engaged to my fiance. Finds out the fiance is actually a woman, and they had never like slept together, and so like stuff like that, like totally like, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like
That's
it's not the right place or arena to do this in. Like,
yeah. And honestly, that's just a recipe for disaster. And our previous um crime talk with Steph depicted how that could go when you are not aware of the
Yes.
fact that someone is, transgender or
Yeah.
what I mean.
Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's
Exactly.
pretty
I mean,
it's borderline, it's bullying.
it
Like,
is.
it's ambushing people, but at the same time it is bullying people. Like that's horrible.
Like, why would you do that on TV? Like, come on. It's like I feel
Yeah.
like the micro penis guy you were talking about on Fridays with
Mhm.
Mean, I feel like that would have been a
Oh,
grand, that would
oh,
have been such a hit on Jenny Jones.
oh, it sure would have.
Oh, my goodness
Totally
gracious.
see his wife there like, yeah, and oh gosh, it's
Girl,
horrible.
but oh yeah, so sorry. We had to take a little tour. But yes,
Hmm.
we were all hooked. And so anyways, on March 6th, Scott and Donna appeared on this super popular segment called Secret Crushes. So Jenny, and this is awkward as hell, Jenny asks Scott questions. Whoa, I said, did you hear that? Let me say that again. Jenny asked Scott questions.
It's like
Um,
very snake of you.
I know. Hi, Paula Abdul. Hey, sis,
Okay.
nice,
Well,
nice. Um, so she asks him questions about his crush, and Scott is very candid. He shared fantasies, provoked by Jenny. She was asking like point blank, do you have fantasies? What do you like about him? Like very probing questions because the audience was just like eating it up.
oh yeah.
And she was like feeding off of it. I'm sure she had her prepared questions, but one of them was like, tell us some of your fantasies. I mean, he was like, I, have a hammock in my backyard and I fantasize like him in it and me tying him up. And another fantasy where it just involves champagne and whipped cream. I mean, it was steamy up in there. Okay. And they were recording this interview, right? To later play it in front of Jonathan. So Jonathan
Right.
at this point is not on stage.
Mhm.
Okay. Jonathan is in the back and he's in like the green room. He's got headphones on. He has no idea what's going on. So then Jenny, once
Oh,
she's
it's
done doing this
horrible.
interview, yeah, she's like, okay, let's take off the headphones and bring Jonathan out. So he comes out. He's so cute. I mean, Scott even said, he's so cute. I just want to put him in my curio cabinet. You know, he's just
Hey,
tiny
he
and
stole my line.
what?
He stole my line. I always say that. I just want to put him in a curio cabinet.
That's why it sounded familiar. So like he totally said that on TV, you know, and so he comes out and everyone's squealing. He
Hmm.
comes out and the first people he sees is Donna and Scott. He's like, hi, like, okay, what are you guys doing here? But he's smiling.
Hmm.
Hey, and then everyone's cheering him on. And then
Shoot, he probably thinks it's Donna.
yeah, so he hugs Donna and then he's like, hey, Scott. And then Scott tries to awkwardly hug Jonathan. Like Jonathan's turned at this point, and then he's like grabs him. And it was awkward. Yeah,
Mm.
it was awkward. Jonathan kind of brushes him off and he's still smiling. This smile mean does not leave his face this entire segment. It is plastered on his face uncomfortably. So he's as soon as his butt touches the chair, Jenny's like, did you think Donna's your secret crush? And then he's like, no, I don't know. We're friends. He's like, oh, good, because it's not. It's actually Scott. Boom, right there.
Wow.
And then he starts to laugh nervously and turns to Donna and Scott and says, you lied to me. I don't know what that means, but that quote is like, it's famous. So, like, I don't know if he maybe asked them or told them about the fact that Jenny Jones was going to fly him out. And they're like, oh, wow, that's cool. Maybe they were just like lying to him, like not acting surprised or whatever prior to this whole like March 6th thing. I don't
Hmm.
know why else he would say that to them.
So real quick, so
Yeah.
I have on YouTube, there's a video of this whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
And there's an I mean, I don't know. This person who commented actually answered that question that you just,
Do
and who knows
share.
if it's true, but so there's this guy, his name is Chuck Hoover. He claims, and this was 9 years ago that he put this, right? I was a friend of John's. I worked with him at the restaurant, and I'm gay as well. He knew, and I testified at the trial. Scott was aggressively pursuing John, stalking him. He says that John had a troubled past, an abusive father, and yes, some personal demons. When he said, you lied to me, it was because I had told John when he was called to go on the show that it was likely Scott. So
Mhm.
John asked him directly, and Scott lied and told him it wasn't him. John is not gay and did not have sex with Scott.
So there was a rumor, not, and I will get to it in a little bit, but
Mm-hmm.
basically that they hooked up after this. And several people testified to this on the stand.
Mm-hmm.
Like Scott's mom even was
The
interviewed on TV and said the same thing. So I don't believe
wow.
it personally, but yeah. So that they were intimate. I don't think so. But I also don't truly believe it's not anyone's place to guess
Yeah,
about
especially
Jonathan's
because
sexuality like that,
mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? Like that's no one's business. But like
Yeah.
if he's like saying I'm not interested, that should be respected.
Mm-hmm.
And I will touch on what you just said because that actually it comes out later about the aggressiveness on account of Scott. So thank you for sharing that quote because,
Mm-hmm.
and again, who knows if that sounds pretty believable though, that could be like
Well, I
a,
mean, him saying no or him saying that I'm not should just drop it if that's what he really was saying. It's kind of
oh,
like when a girl says no when a guy's trying to have sex
yeah,
with her. You
yeah,
know, it's the
yeah,
same concept. Like you don't want to push those kind of things. And a lot of people do
exactly.
because they want to get to the bottom of it because I feel like a lot of people get fixated, especially when they
Yes,
themselves think that someone's gay
yes,
and
exactly.
they're trying to it's like anything when you're lying Or when you're telling the truth, but someone's convinced you're lying, like if you're having an argument or something, or you hear those stories where people say, "Oh, she's crazy." And you're like, "No, I'm not." But the more that you try to deny it, the more you look crazy.
Right.
It's the same thing. And poor guy, I mean, like you said, who knows? But hell, if the mother testify, okay, keep going.
Yes. So he says that you lied to me, and Donna and Scott just start to chuckle. And it's a hard watch. Like this clip is, I watched it like with my hands over my eyes. I was so embarrassed. After this, after the reveal, Jenny plays the interview that she had just conducted with Scott right before Jonathan went on stage to get Jonathan's reaction. It just keeps getting more and more awkward. But on the surface, it seemed like Jonathan was being really like adult and decent about the whole thing. He was just smiling and laughing everything off, because
Mm-hmm.
he could have gone off on him right then and there. It could have
Mm-hmm.
gone a whole other way. He could have punched him. It could have gotten physical. And I'm sure Jenny would have loved that in the audience as well, chairs flying
Mm-hmm.
everywhere. But instead, he just smiled uncomfortably and stated, and this is a direct quote, "I am definitely heterosexual, I guess you could say."
Hmm.
Okay, so take that
Interesting.
for what it is.
I'm definitely heterosexual, I guess you could say. That part, though.
The "I guess you could say" is just like, are you saying that because you feel uncomfortable having to talk about your sexuality at all? Like,
Right.
I'm actually like, because how would it sound like, oh, I'm actually a lesbian. Actually, like, as opposed to I'm a
Right.
lesbian.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, it's like if I asked you something and you said, I'm a lesbian, I guess you can say.
yes,
I'd be like, what do you mean by that? Are you sure? Like,
exactly. Exactly. But again, we could pick it apart, but maybe he was just nervous and he was like, well, can we get on with this? Like,
Mhm.
let's just, bye-bye, you know?
It's so funny because if you look at this just scenario right there, and if you put that into right now, um, a lot of people might be in the same situation or feel like they have to be the way John was.
Mm-hmm.
Because if he went against that, he
Mm-hmm.
might be he might be harassed or made like kind of like, oh, well, you just what, you hate gays or you don't want to, you know what I mean? Like,
Yes, absolutely.
and and the thing is like it's not even about anything like that. Like the thing is you're just trying to defend the fact that you're not.
Exactly. It should have just ended right then and there, you
And that
know?
makes me sad.
It does. This whole thing, the whole thing could have been avoided, but
Hmm.
yeah. Finally, a million years later, the segment finally ends. Okay, like,
Mm.
bye. So after the taping, Scott, Jonathan, and Donna went to go get drinks and before flying home together to Michigan. So, okay.
Hmm.
Hearing this, you would think that, okay, must have been embarrassing for Jonathan, but he seems fine. Like they could just move past it, right? But 3 days later, on March 9th, 1995, the world would soon find out just how not okay Jonathan was with this public declaration of love or lust. So Jonathan gets home from work one night and sees a construction light, like those little like orange thingies, sitting by his door with a note on it. The note is from Scott and it says, and again I quote, "You have the right tools to turn this on." Mhm. This, we will later find out, was the match that lit the fire in Jonathan to do what he did next. So now hearing what you said from the YouTube, the comment that the person made saying that he was a friend of Jonathan's, I believe truly that, yeah, he was pushed. And like the letter, like, why? Like you know that this man is not gay. He was embarrassed and you left a note, a sexually suggestive note on his door. What? Like, why would you
Yeah,
do that? But why did you do that? Like, did something
exactly.
happen that night? Because again, there are several people saying, and one is a really good friend of Scott's. He testified
Hmm.
in court that Jonathan and Scott and Donna were out at a bar and they got plastered, and they went to someone's house and they ended up slow dancing together. And then they ended up, being intimate together. Donna also testified later on at the trial, and she said, this is absolutely not true. This did not happen. And this friend on YouTube is saying the same thing. It's like,
And
I don't
that's
know.
Donna.
Yeah. Donna doesn't lie, right?
No, because I would think that Donna would have Scott's back.
I would think so too. She seemed very like to the point in her testimony.
I mean, she went all the way to Jenny Jones
With her friend. So I mean, do I wish she gave a heads up to Jonathan? Yeah. It's just, I don't think anyone knew that this was going to be like what would happen later.
And you know what? And the thing is like, what would she have to lose at this point to say the truth if they weren't intimate? And with how close her and Scott were, or so it seemed, she would have known, I would think.
Yeah.
Because Scott seems like he was okay with telling people things.
Yes.
So, we all know those people, not saying, that, it's whether or not you're gay or straight, we all know those type of people that kiss and tell. But he was very he seemed like he was very confident in who he was, and he didn't care sharing things. I mean, he went on freaking Jenny Jones. So I'm pretty sure he would tell Donna.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't know.
But yeah, but unfortunately, no one was given a heads up. This note pushed Jonathan over the edge. He was done. He was like, I can't take this anymore. So he goes to his bank, takes out some cash, and he goes to buy a gun. He then drives to Scott's mobile home, but leaves the gun in the car and goes to knock on the door. Scott answers, and Jonathan asks him, did you leave this note on my door? Scott allegedly smiled and said, yeah, I did. Jonathan then tells Scott he had to run to get something in his car or shut it off, something to that effect, just to get him back to his car. So he goes back and he grabs his gun and returns back to Scott's. He, at this point, is overwhelmed by anger, humiliation, possibly other underlying, factors, maybe being closeted. We don't know, but he was at his boiling point. He takes his gun out and points it at Scott. According to Scott's roommate, who was also there at the time, Scott yelled for help, screaming that Jonathan had a gun, and he picks up a wicker chair. Hello, 90s. He picks up a wicker chair, tries to defend himself with it, but Scott ends up shooting him in the chest twice, ending his life in a brutal act of rage and violence. After he shot Scott, Jonathan did not hide. He didn't run away. He didn't do anything like that. He drove directly to a nearby gas station where he called the police on the payphone to turn himself in. He was taken into custody right away and gave police a full report, or a full confession, I should say. So all of this, you think about he had they call it mens rea, he had the mind, he had the thought, he planned it out. At any point in time, he could have just not gone to the house, but he took money out actively. He actively went to buy a gun. He could have, again, made a choice and gotten rid of it, but no, he didn't. He drove there. He could have made another choice and not knocked on the door, but he didn't. And then he left the gun in the car, but goes back to get it. So there is no argument that he was out of his mind. He was in full control of his mind.
Yeah. Just the fact that he actually went and bought a gun.
The act. Yes. Premeditation.
He had complete intent.
Exactly. So yeah.
First degree murder, baby.
Oh, hold on to your bra. Hold on.
Ay.
So because this murder case was the first of its kind, I mean, I've never heard of anything like this. Okay. Before or after.
Right.
It was a media feeding frenzy, with the trial being covered 24/7 on all news outlets, including our favorite. Back in the day, it was called Court TV.
Okay. Shoot.
And back then, anyways, Court TV was owned by Warner Brothers, and Warner Brothers also owned the Jenny Jones show. So let's remember that. His trial was quick. It lasted only a few months, from October to December of 96, and he was charged with murder and committing a felony with a firearm. It was, like I said, taped the whole time. It was like OJ status. Okay.
Dang.
People were in there. People were aware. And Donna was one of the first witnesses to testify and stated that they had, we all hung out after the taping. We all flew home together. And Jonathan did not at any point confront Scott about anything. Like, they didn't even talk about it. And the incident seemed to be behind all of them. But again, we can all see on the clips that we, on YouTube of this segment, that uncomfortable smile that was plastered on his face. Like, you could tell he was beyond embarrassed, and it may have been like it started ticking and not stopped. Like, I don't think that anyone, but I don't think, regardless, like, seeing that and like it's embarrassing, I don't think anyone at any point thought that it would have pushed him to murder Scott, though. Jonathan's defense attorney, though, tried to use the gay panic defense, stating that if Scott had not professed his love on national TV, Jonathan would not have acted out in this way. Now, I don't necessarily agree with this. I do think that this is hard for me to say, but like, had Scott left it alone, maybe never talked to Jonathan again, maybe not left the note, he might still be alive,
True.
I really, really hate saying that, because I don't want to blame Scott for his murder. No one deserves to have their life taken away from them like that. But yeah, I just, the note, I just feel like, ugh. So yeah. And then
it just kind of pushed him over the edge.
Like, he was already teetering on like, I'm gonna lose it, and then boom, that was it. They also, so his defense counsel also tried to use his frame of mind. So apparently he suffered from bipolar disorder. And so that could have played a part. But like we talked about before, a friend of Scott's stated on the stand that Scott and Jonathan allegedly had slow dance kissed and had a sexual encounter the night after the taping, after they had all been drinking. So like, it was like the people in the jury, the judge, everyone was like, oh, he pursued him too hard, and oh my God, he shouldn't have done that. Oh, but then they were intimate. Like, it was just like coming all like from everywhere. Like, who do you believe?
Yeah, for real.
But Jonathan was ultimately sentenced to 25 to 50 years in prison for second-degree murder. Yes, second degree, not first degree. He was released on August 22nd, 2017, after being granted parole after only serving 21 years.
So he's out? I'm like, what the hell?
He's out. So, and also, while like after his hearing, I guess they tried to like put on another case again to like get the decision overturned, and then they found him guilty again. So he got sentenced twice.
But tell me why second degree? Why second degree?
Because I think that they were confused about like the whole, okay. I think they were confused about how much responsibility Jonathan really had. Because a lot after this murder and after the trial, it sparked a heated debate about the responsibility of talk shows and the boundaries of reality TV. So a lot of people were arguing that the producers of the Jenny Jones show had exploited the participants' emotions for ratings and disregarded the potential like risks involved in doing this. So like a lot of people were more pissed at Jenny Jones and her show and Warner Brothers in the show. They were like, like, had this show like not existed, or like this segment existed or invited these people onto the show, Scott would still be alive. I think that's kind of true.
Yeah, I do too.
Okay,
I think so. I mean, Yeah.
I don't want to like at the end of the day, like Jonathan was the one that bought the gun and went to the house and pulled the trigger. He had choices and he did that. But I
Yeah, I
think
mean, I honestly, sorry to interrupt you, but yeah, I mean, I honestly don't think that we should blame either one. Like, I
Mhm.
can't say that it was, Scott's fault and he had
Right,
it coming. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
he made his bed, so now this is what happens, right?
Yeah.
Um, but at the same time, I put myself in, like, me being a straight person,
Hmm.
and I have been called gay before. Like, not
Hmm.
called gay, but asked, right?
Hmm.
And I don't take offense to it. Not like I'm like, "Ooh, no." You know what I mean? But in high school, someone called me that, like a friend of mine, a mutual friend, but it was a guy because I had short hair, right?
God, I'm
Um,
tired.
exactly. And I'm like, whatever. But then also when I worked at the espresso bar, there was a girl that worked actually at the record store, and she had a crush on me and
Hmm.
wanted to know if I was gay. And the thing was is that it didn't offend me, but I could see being a straight person when you're not,
Hmm.
like, for some people, especially depending on your background. Like, luckily for me, and the fact that I grew up in a very diverse culture to where, it wasn't something that I felt was that wasn't it was a compliment, if anything, like, hey, I can attract both, hey, men
Hmm.
and women, right? But for some, that could be a very, especially coming from, like, where are they from? What air?
Michigan.
Michigan, like, these Midwest states, just small towns, like that,
Oh
it could
no.
come with a lot of repercussions.
Well, also Neen, his dad, like Jonathan's dad testified, and he was like going on and on again about the fact that no, my son is not gay. No, let's get it straight here. He had relationships with women. Like you could tell the kind of
Yeah.
environment that Jonathan grew up in. So God forbid he
Mm-hmm.
was gay.
Right.
He wouldn't be able to safely come out and be accepted.
Exactly. Yeah, and if he
So
was, we would never know. And he
exactly.
probably would have lived his whole life trying to, if he was still alive today, he'd probably still trying to defend the fact that he wasn't gay.
He actually is still alive. He's
Oh
like
yeah, that's
50.
right.
Yeah, he's 51.
I'm right. Well, exactly. So, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, oh, I see what you're saying.
if
Totally.
for some reason, the tables were turned and he was the one that was shot, I mean, whatever I was trying to say. But it's
Yeah.
it's a sticky situation.
Oh, definitely. But I do
That's
think
so funny. You're like, he is alive. Duh.
you're so cute. No, but like I totally like, Scott is dead because, Jonathan pulled the trigger. But I
Mhm.
do think that Jenny Jones was at least partly responsible for this death.
Definitely.
Just the ambush, you know what I mean? Jenny Jones kept asking these like really like questions, like kind of
Mhm.
poking fun, like, playful. And, she's good at what she does, but like, and
Yeah.
the audience was loving it, but like, just leave it alone. Like, he is
Mhm.
uncomfortable. You should pick up on that. I mean, and all that, and combined with the note, it just totally just pushed him over the edge. And actually, this segment never aired.
Really?
It was scrapped because they taped it on March 6th and he was murdered March 9th. So
Oh shoot, that's right. It was only dang.
yeah, it was 3 days later. So they scrapped it.
That is crazy. I guess because we've seen it in the media, because I remember
Yeah.
his face. I
Yeah.
probably saw it on that show, Current Affairs.
Oh, current affair. Oh
Remember?
my God.
Yeah, where because I remember his haircut.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was a haircut.
Yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm. Dang.
Yeah. So they scrapped it. But, Jonathan didn't know that. As far as he was concerned, at the time he committed the murder, he believed everyone in the US had seen him humiliated on television, so that
Wow.
must have played a part.
Yeah.
But Scott's family. So, I mean, first of all, they lost their son, their
Mm-hmm.
brother. It was devastating. They actually ended up hiring an attorney. This freaking character name. He was actually Dr. Kevorkian's attorney. He was one of these
Ooh,
showboat
whoop, whoop.
attorneys. Yeah. And like apparently his opening statement, which literally should only take a few minutes, he was talking for 2.5 hours straight of about nothing. Like he just would like kind of talk you into like
Wow.
tiredness, like exhaustion. And he was just like this cocky know-it-all. Okay. Like I was like this, like my face watching him and his arguments. And it was like, you're making no sense whatsoever.
Wow.
But the family actually ended up winning their case. So they sued Warner Brothers with the help of this attorney because Warner Brothers owns Jenny Jones. They ended up winning the case and they were awarded $30 million in damages. But Warner Brothers had filed an appeal of the judge's decision and it was granted by the Court of Appeals. So this decision was overturned. I literally cannot believe that Warner Brothers had the audacity to appeal this decision. First of all, we're talking about a life that was lost. Secondly, Warner Brothers made a buttload of money off of this trial because Warner Brothers owns Court TV and they were covering the case and the trial heavily. I mean, they were swimming in money. So 30 million was like $5 to them. So the family walked away with nothing and they continue to maintain to this day that had these two men never appeared on the show, Scott would still be alive today.
So wait, so they appealed for the whole amount? They didn't even get a portion of that 30 million?
They didn't get diddly. And apparently
fuck that. I'm so mad.
No, I read somewhere that part of the 30 million, they allocated like 5 million within the 30, right? For suffering. So like they deduced that the suffering that Scott went through in those minutes before he died was worth 5 million and they didn't even get that. They didn't get anything.
These big corporations like this, come on, Warner Brothers, come on, do better.
It's pretty gross.
That is. But it's so funny because if this happened nowadays, oh my gosh, Warner Brothers, they would have been canceled.
Girl, oh my God, no. I just read in the news that some white woman, and I don't have the facts yet, but I read that she was fired by Starbucks or something like that. And she sued and she was awarded like millions for wrongful termination. Like I need to look into this story, but yeah. So it's like Warner Brothers cough it up, but they didn't get anything. And I totally, I agree with them that had this segment never aired.
Oh yeah.
He would still be alive. But while Scott's life, it was definitely cut short by this senseless murder. His legacy lives on through the efforts of his family because they have tirelessly, I can't talk tonight. They have advocated for justice and reforms within the media industry, actually. So they took their pain and they changed it into like a powerful like force for change, trying to inspire others to recognize the importance of compassion, empathy, and responsibility in pursuit of entertainment. Okay. Because my God, this is because of media. Like the media played such a huge role in this. I'm convinced. But Jenny Jones, where is she now? Let's do a quickie. You actually told me about
this. Good old Jenny.
So Jenny, her TV career was pretty much over. Yeah, I get it. But she's still around. She's 70 years old today. She has a website, jennyjones.com, and she also has a cooking site, which is called jennycancook.com. She also has a YouTube cooking channel. And then she also has another website called Jenny's Heroes, where she features positive stories about people who impact their communities, much like Scott, I can imagine. And she actually awards some people with money. Like, I guess there's like stories that she's like so inspired by, and she like gives them like a grant of some sort. So I think that's pretty cool. She's trying to like do good. So that's what she's doing. And Jonathan, he will actually be 53 in July and has just tried to maintain a private life since he was released in 2017. But yeah, so that's where he is. Actually, we don't know where he is, but that's how private he is. As we bring this episode to a close, let us remember Scott as more than just a victim. He
Mm-hmm.
was, I mean, clearly he was beloved by his family, by his friends. He helped everyone around him. And his death spurred a movement toward greater accountability in the media landscape. I think that, I hope that his story serves as a constant reminder to honor the humanity of others and to just prioritize the well being and dignity of all individuals, both on and off screen. And that, my friend, is the Jenny Jones murder.
Mm.
Yeah,
Wow, that's deep.
it's heavy. I just, it's heavy, it's sad. Again, like, oh, there's just so many things that you just want to like reach in and stop them from doing. But yeah,
Yeah. I don't know. I really don't know. Cause like you look at it one way and then you think the other. And honestly, they both were victims. I feel
yeah.
like,
Ugh.
um, it's hard. Like it's a hard situation. It's a hard topic. I mean,
You
back
know,
then
hmm.
things were so different.
You know what strikes me though too is like even though Jonathan planned this all out, he knew it was wrong and he turned himself in right away.
Hmm.
So he took accountability for it at least. He could have
Completely. Yeah,
he
and then I just think that he wasn't in the right frame of mind.
no.
Honestly, I think that he was still in shock. We don't know what happened after that show. Obviously, we know they supposedly went out and were partying it up and God knows what, right?
Mhm.
Um, but we don't know I mean, obviously, during the trial, they probably explained that, like if he contacted his family or if he told anybody what had happened, maybe he didn't because he was so embarrassed and so worried about the repercussions of what people would be thinking of him. And
Mhm.
God, that's just so sad. Because when you look, honestly, because I've seen the video of him, and I mean, yeah, I don't even know what to say because it is sad. Honestly, I'm not mad at the fact that he's out.
Me
I
neither.
feel like he acted on he was just embarrassed, you know?
Yeah, and I feel like I don't think he's a I don't think that he will kill again. Does that make sense? Like I
No,
just
yeah, that's not something that I feel like he intended to be was a murderer. But I think that, it's like anything, and it has nothing to do with someone being gay or not or whatever or this situation. But when you're pushed to a wall and you have to prove yourself, um, or you're being ridiculed, or you think about
yeah,
what could happen or what's gonna happen once this is out, man, all I would think of is, damn, you I really effed up my life.
exactly.
And, that letter pushed him over the edge, and he probably just saw white and was like,
He snapped. He definitely snapped like a
mm-hmm.
twig.
And I will say, God rest Scott's soul, and he did not deserve to be killed. But I think this is a lesson too that regardless of who you are, right? Whether you're straight, you're gay, whatever, we all have to have boundaries and we all
Yeah.
have to understand that when someone says no, they mean no
Eh,
and don't push it.
no.
Like, I
And
don't understand why that's so hard for people. It's just like, even in friendships, it's just like, give people space. Don't push things when you know people are honestly uncomfortable or they just, you know, I don't know. I actually have a lot more blame towards Donna
wow.
because I kind of feel like I don't understand how Donna couldn't have known anything.
I mean,
I don't know how good of a friend she was to John, but I'm pretty sure she was good friends with Chris and she could have told Chris back off. Wait, that wasn't his name.
Jonathan.
Scott. Scott.
Oh,
She could have
Scott,
told
yeah.
Scott just back off for a while. Back off. Like I don't know. I don't know. Like, come on.
I mean,
She's,
at least
okay, I have a scenario for you. Okay, say you're Donna, okay, and I'm Scott. You're interested in John, right? And say You come up to me. No, okay, so I'm Scott and say, "Ooh, Donna, is John, you know, I think he's hot." As a friend, okay, even in a heterosexual situation, you would say, "Ooh, well, he's single, but I don't know. I don't even know if he is gay or even if he was even toyed with that idea." We have, wouldn't you go up? Because I'm pretty sure it seems like with how Scott was, he wasn't shy about stuff.
No, he wasn't. He was very open about what he liked and,
Yeah. So you can't tell me that he wasn't like, hey, find out. Donna, I can't imagine Donna not being like, let me explore. Let me kind of get some, let me fill him out for you.
no, like what she should have done was like, he is not interested. Like, I wouldn't bark up that tree. He is
Mm-hmm.
straight. And then I would have told Jonathan, like, if I saw that Scott wasn't getting the point, I would have been like, hey, heads up, this is
Mm-hmm.
happening. Maybe stay away from him. Again, like that friend that commented on the YouTube thing, what if Scott did stalk him? Oh, we don't know. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
Donna didn't even know. But the thing is that once her butt got on a plane, or even that's too late. She should have been
Mm-hmm.
like, FYI, you're going to be on national TV and a man is going to profess his love for you. You may not, like, a heads up.
Yeah, hell, we're over here last week with Fridays with Neen. We're over here tripping off the stuff we said about sex. And that's nothing compared to if we're worried about what other people are going to think
Exactly.
or how they're going to perceive us or judge us. Donna wasn't worried. I mean, what kind of friend is she?
No, I mean, yeah. No, she's,
I feel like
yeah,
she's a
she's
big
not
little,
innocent.
she's just as much of a at fault as Jenny Jones herself.
Oof.
Because and you're right, in that video you could tell that John is like playing it off, but in his head you could tell he's thinking like, oh shit, like like, oh my gosh, like, what am I gonna say, like, what do I do, like, haha, yeah, oh my goodness. His
Yeah.
bad was is why did you go out with them supposedly after and get drunk, like, who knows though? Maybe they had an argument. Maybe they were, he wanted to go out with them so he could talk about it and be like, "Hey, I'm not down with this."
Yeah.
Who
Exactly.
knows? You know? I don't know. This just so this is kind of along those same lines of this story, and I just have a quick question because I want to know your thoughts on it. So, let me get her name before I because it slipped my mind. And you'll, as soon as I mention her name, you'll know who I'm talking about. Okay, so Elliot Page.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so did you see? It was all over social media last week, and how she was
Yep.
talking about the relationship that she had with one of her co-stars while filming Juno. And they were saying that basically she said that whatever the co-star's name was, that she had basically throughout the whole filming, they were having passionate sex the whole time. They were hooking
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
And so she's transitioned, right?
Yes.
And
He's now
mhm.
Elliot. Yeah.
And so Elliot comes out and he says these things, right? And everybody's like, so I look on the comments and I don't know, because I don't know if anything's come out since then, but everybody's like, did he even bother asking her permission?
He asked everybody
Oh, he
that
did.
he talked about in his book.
Okay, so I didn't know because that in the comments, that's what everybody was
No,
saying. Nobody even bothered
he got
to.
permission.
Oh, he
Like,
did.
yeah, and
Okay.
I can't wait to get my hands on his book. I'm like so late, but now I'm gonna have time in a couple of weeks to read it because no holds, like, he is just like an open book, literally, and it's very detailed. And yes, he got permission from everybody,
Okay,
like,
so I
he
had
did it
no
the right
clue
way.
whether or not he got permission because everybody had asked, but I think that just shows though the importance of the
Right.
fact that you have to
Consent.
ask. Yeah, you can't just say these things. And I think in this case, it's the perfect example in the the producers, Jenny Jones herself. Like if I was in, like you said, it was the time, ambush TV, it was the thing to do. And the laws were, or the rules were a lot different then. But as a human being, wouldn't you stop and think? Because, for example, with Elliot Page, even in my head, it was like, "Ooh, did she know?" You know what I mean? And like all the commenters were thinking the same thing. As a human, as a just a person, wouldn't you think in your head, "Ooh, is John going to be okay with this?" Like, because if he's not
Exactly.
gay, like this could really, and we don't know his background. How is this going to, I don't want to say it would be different if he was from San Francisco, you know what I mean? But we don't know how this, especially the time frame, the years that this was going on. There was a lot more craziness when it came
Yeah,
to coming out, and people were so
definitely.
hesitant, I don't know. I'm surprised no one actually would sue freaking Jenny Jones herself.
Oh, for sure. For
'Cause I
sure.
would have. I would have sued her, and if I couldn't go after her, I would have gone after all of them just to make a point.
I just, God, it's just
Yeah.
all bad. This one was, it was hard to, because it was so hard to watch the clip, Neen. And there's actually a documentary
Mhm.
on Netflix about it too. That was really interesting. It showed a lot of the behind the scenes in the trial, and it's just, you, I hate saying this, but like you almost feel sorry for Jonathan.
Mhm.
I mean, I do to a
Yeah.
point.
But I mean, and I think in this instance, like we said, I don't think it's bad to feel bad for him.
Right.
Like I think this is the one case where you're just like, and I guess it goes along the lines that just because he wasn't attracted to him, or maybe he wasn't gay, maybe, but he did this, right? Doesn't make him a bad person. I think that he just didn't have time to process everything. And I
Hmm.
think he just went into a fit of rage because he was so embarrassed and like put in a really awkward position.
And it, sorry to interrupt, but it makes me, I feel like he was really alone too.
Hmm.
He didn't really have anybody that he could talk to about it. Because
Hell,
wouldn't you?
yeah. And then look at what you said, like about his dad. I
Yeah,
mean, and just what
exactly.
that commenter said on the YouTube thing, his dad, he came from a very abusive childhood. His dad was very abusive. And while his dad was on the stand, like you said, he was very, no, my son is not
Oh
gay.
yeah, adamant.
So,
Adamant.
him knowing that,
Oh yeah.
I'm sure
He
he
knew
was like,
he,
oh my gosh, what is,
like, now my dad's gonna see this thing on TV and think I'm gay.
right.
Horrible.
I
I
just,
just,
it's horrible. And I hope he has a good life. And I think that if anything, yeah, it's just sad. And I hope he can live a normal, healthy life where he's not bothered, and because I think
yeah.
that's very sad.
Look
It's
what's
sad on
happening
all
behind me.
parts. I know. I was
Just
watching
noticed.
her. She's like, she's busy. I'm going to do what I want. She's not going to
What
yell
the
at me.
hell? That is her tote bag. That's her
Dang, that's her
purse.
tote bag. Her.
For those not watching our YouTube, my
Shoot.
puppy is behind me currently and ripping her tote bag to shreds.
Oh my
Lovely.
gosh.
Having a
Well,
party.
she's like, okay, I'm going to show them something. Dang, this was a good one though, Steph, because
Oh,
I think that's the thing is that it made this particular episode actually made us see both sides of, you know, I think
aggressor and
that
victim.
yeah, and I think a lot of times, I think nowadays it's different.
Mhm.
We just never know where people are, their state
No,
of mind,
no.
where they are mentally. And I think like especially you because you are in the gay community, you
Hmm.
can understand certain things, or you've been a product of um you know not harassment, but well, borderline, but discrimination, and you know how that feels. You maybe have heard comments, read comments, even by people maybe that you even loved or
Hmm.
adore, right?
Exactly.
And I think that bottom line, and that's something that we're going to talk about in the next Fridays with Neen,
Oh
is
yeah.
that it is important to communicate. It's important to have a open, honest dialogue, and not be afraid of asking questions that make us feel uncomfortable, especially with things like this, because I think that if Scott and John were able to have an honest communication, like between just them two,
Right.
maybe Scott would still be alive,
A
without getting
hundred percent.
feelings hurt,
A
you
hundred
know?
percent. I could
And
bank on that for
yeah,
sure.
where John was like, hey, it's a compliment, but I'm not. So if you could just please and respect that,
Exactly.
you know?
That's the whole thing. Respect it. Leave it
Hmm.
alone. Walk away.
Hmm. Yeah. And some people just don't understand to
Mm-mm.
just stop. In that
Stop
part,
it.
if that is the case, in that part, if that was the case, then I don't want to say Scott deserved it. He didn't. But, you know, then in that case, there's no right or wrong. Like, you can't blame one person over the other. He shouldn't have killed him. He could have beat him up, but
Hmm.
don't kill a person. But
Exactly.
yeah, it's bad. But it also shows, like you said, with the media, whether it
Mhm.
was in the 90s or now, they're still just as effed up as they were,
Oh
just in a
yeah.
different way. Because
Yeah.
look, you go from one channel to the other and it's all different. I mean, look at Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, okay? And all of the media backlash that they get, or even just the media that they have within their own circle with their own family. And the fact
Hmm.
that they are selling, they depend on the media to be who they are. And they depend on, like, if they're not getting good or bad press, then they're doing something wrong.
Yeah,
You can't really
exactly.
fight with the media a lot of times. They're always going to win. People have been trying to fight them forever. Don't take pictures of my kids. Don't do that. But they do it
Exactly.
anyway.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, because I saw, when I was researching and it came up about the parents like being advocates and working hard to try to change like how the media is, like with respect to like, I guess reality TV.
Hmm.
Yes, I feel like now people are more aware with, especially with this case, like of what things can transpire if
Hmm.
so I think that at least was the lesson learned, and it's gotten a little bit better, but there's still trashy reality TV
Because
and
think about this, like with Elliot Page,
yeah.
I'm pretty sure the media knew that he asked for consent,
Yes. Oh
but
God.
they put it on there to get people riled up.
Hmm.
Like, why should I even have to look for the answer? You know? Because and TMZ is really good, or even there's another one, I don't know if it's Baller Alert, I can't remember, but they're good at that, and people call them out because it's like, why are you posting these headlines that are like clickbait? And then when you go on there, it's a completely different thing.
Exact. Oh God. It's exact clickbait. That is like the
Hmm.
most appropriate name for it.
Yeah. And I mean, these things are still happening. It's just a different time we're in. And if anything, it's a lot worse,
Hmm.
because the crimes actually that are transpiring now are a lot more gruesome,
Hmm.
and they are posted all over social media, and yeah, it's extremely detrimental. But
Oh, depressing
very
time.
good episode though, Steph. I appreciate this
Thank you,
one.
Neen. I love
Yeah.
talking with you about cases and I love like our takeaways from it. And I feel
Yeah.
like, you know, I really do love it and I look forward to chatting more about, different cases. My next crime talk, it will also be LGBTQ plus based,
Hmm.
because we're still going to be in June. And
Hmm.
yeah, so we'll see what we come up with. But again, thank you. And thank you to our listeners. And if again, a reminder, if there's a case that took place in the 90s, true crime case that you want us to cover or talk about on the show, please DM us on Insta at Totally 90s Podcast. And the same goes for Fridays with Neen. I'm sure Neen would love to hear what you want to talk about. Like, hi,
Yeah,
I
for
ask her
sure.
all the time, on the air, so you guys could
Right?
benefit too. So like
Yeah.
that's me DMing her. So, but I'm
Okay.
sharing with you all. So DM and be like, Nina, I want to talk about, like sex baby again.
Mhm.
Oh
Okay,
yeah.
shoot, for
You know where to
sure.
you know where to find us. And
Yes.
until next time, Neen, catch you on the flip side.
Oh, yeah. Peace out, buddy. And make sure to be nice to people.
Okay, I'm gonna hug you
Always.
via the screen. Yes, be nice to people, and most importantly, be nice to yourself.
Yes.
With that, we're logging off. Good night,
Winking.
everybody. Happy Friday.
Oh, yeah.